I remember having a debate with an old college lecturer of mine one time who was doing a lecture on roses, and I kind of made a kind of a glib remark that they're nothing but a bunch of thorny sticks for 7 months of the year. And he kind of looked at me and said, yeah, that'd be a bit harsh, but maybe you do have a point. But he said, if you only got 5 hours out of them, then it's worth the wait. And as I grew into gardening and I became more experienced and I got to know and to love more and more plants, then roses do play a part in the garden in a big way. I do have a favourite rose. It's an old variety called Kiftskate. The aroma from it is beautiful. But roses have so much to offer. You can grow them in pots, they're versatile. You can grow them in the ground. You can have them scented, you can have them double flowered, you can have them, of the most gaudy colours that you can imagine. But they do have a place in your garden, and maybe not every garden, because maybe they're not suitable to every garden. But when you can have them, when you can get them into your garden, there's nothing quite like the aroma and the view and the look of those beautiful plants. Roses come in many different forms. You've hybrids, floribundas, you have old style roses, you have old English roses, and there are new varieties coming all the time. It's quintessentially English, isn't it? We always associate the English with the rose. They have the War of the Roses. They fought a civil war between the red rose and the white rose, and that was their civil war, and it was just the symbol that was used. But roses, almost all roses are grown. You can see right down here at the bottom is the rootstock. You see where the plant is coming out from the side of that root stock. Well, the rootstock itself is generally something like Rosa canina, which is dog rose, canina being dog, and the new variety is grafted on to that, and these rootstocks are grown in the UK, but they're generally imported. When I was in college, I used to be in college with some Zimbabwean people, and one of the mainstays of their farm is growing rootstocks, and that's what they do. They grow the rootstocks and they then bud onto the rootstock. It's a tea cut that's made, and they take a bud off the variety that they want to grow, and they graft that onto the rootstock. And then what happens is you allow the grafted bud to grow, and then you cut off the old rose, because if you don't do that, it will take over. And sometimes you'll find with your roses that the old rootstock is trying to take over, so you need to be careful of that. Generally the old rootstock will have, you can see here where there's 5 leaves, generally the old rootstocks will have 7. It's not always the case, but they'll generally have 7, and it'll be a different type of leaf. So cut that off immediately. In fact, you should really be vigilant with it, that they don't even take hold at all. And you can see here from the small selection that's here in Margaret Island, then the colours, and it's an awful pity we don't have smell and scent on television, because the scent and the aroma is breathtaking. And the scent and the aroma is only from two types of roses. Unfortunately, the varieties are not being told us, but it's that peach one there, and I have a feeling this one here is the same variety. But it is just, unbelievable. It's a smell of rose. It's a double flower, whatever it is. Beautiful, beautiful colour. But the aroma is something else. The aroma, and you can see the setting that they have here. Roses do like, good soil, well drained soil, and they thrive in the sun. They don't really like the shade. They thrive in the sun, and of course, a rose garden shouldn't just have roses in it. You will find those kind of gardens, but they're generally attached to a nursery, and the nursery then uses them as stock plants. So they will use them for taking the buds to graft for commercial reasons. So you'll have nothing else in the way. But you can see here the entire setting of the whole place is magnificent. It's wide open. There's lots of sun, and down here it's sheltered, because the roses do not like strong wind. You can imagine they don't like strong wind. You get strong wind and delicate flowers like this, they just blow them out of the way. But also, the other thing about having flowers in a setting like this, of any description, is you have a backdrop for the colour. And you can see, as I walk down towards the next lot of roses here, you can see quite easily that you can pick out the colours, and you can pick them out much easier because they're set against another darker colour or a different colour, and it works really, really well. There's a magnificent display, and again, as I walk up here, the smell is just unbelievable. I'll give you a quick pan around the garden. That's all. They're all planted with bedding. There are no roses down that side. Huge amount of maintenance needed for this now. This is not the kind of thing that you take on. There's actually people down there with a watering hose, and I dare say that's their job all day, because you can see there's a lady with pulling the hose after her, watering the plants. I suppose the thing with roses really is that you do need maintenance. They do need maintenance. They do need pruning. Now, there's also an argument, and I know plenty of people who say that you should get your worst enemy to prune your roses and go in and just hack them down, and they respond every year. But if you want to keep them kind of some way formal, then you'll need to go in and properly prune them. And you prune them by taking out any limbs or branches that are rubbing off each other. You take the one that has the most buds on it, and you keep that one if you can, and then you take them out, any that are crossing, and you open up the center of the plant, so you almost have a bowl shape for the plant. And you cut it, then you prune it to an outward facing bulb, or an outward facing bud, not a bulb, a bud. And that's how you simply maintain them. I wouldn't get worked up about them. As I said, they will take a bit of punishment. They will take a bit of harsh treatment, but you need to keep them bug and pest free. They do tend to get, the aphids and the diseases, the molds that plants in the rose family get. And I've said this to you before, even as I look at these now, I don't know if you can see them, there are some aphids in those roses. So you can treat them chemically, or you can encourage wildlife. I think definitely a combination of both works well. I don't think we should be drenching everything in chemicals just for the sake of it. Absolutely not. But there are times when things get out of hand, and we've let them get out of hand, and sometimes you just need to give them a little shot of the chemical to get rid of whatever you're trying to get rid of. But roses do suffer from quite a few diseases. They do not like being wet either. If roses get wet, they get mold on them very, very easily, and then they look terrible. Then the flowers don't flower, and what happens is that they don't thrive. They don't build up anything for next year. They've no reserves left. So over the years, then they just decline, and eventually they'll die off. You'll get years out of a rose plant properly maintained. White is a fabulous colour when it is white. Unfortunately, the difficulty with plants that are white, as they're going off, they look truly awful, and you can see that one there. It's a perfect example of it. Look at the contrast. So you really need to deadhead those ones. As the flower is dying off, pull the dead or dying flower off it, and you will actually encourage the rest of them to continue flowering, because the plant's natural instinct is to flower and go to seed and try to self-propagate itself, but it can't do that if you're pulling off the flowers. So what it will try to do, as you pull off the dead flowers, it will then give that energy to the other flowers, which the plant itself knows. I'm just taking a sniff here. Oh, fabulous, look at it. The plant itself knows that's how these things work. So once the poor flowers are gone, the new ones can be concentrated upon. And again, the setting, the background, the plants in the background are mostly quite a few evergreens, not mostly, but there's quite a few evergreens. And I'm also looking around at the plants as I'm walking around, and I don't see any other plants from the rose family, and I think that's deliberate, because if you have a whole lot of plants from the same family, they tend to get caught up with the same diseases, the same pests, and especially over a few years. It may not happen just in the 1 year, but over a few years you'll find that there's a build-up of them, and then you may have a problem in trying to clean it up. It may even necessitate digging up your roses and getting rid of them for a while in order to break the cycle. That's what you have to do. You have to think about the life cycle of the pest or the disease, and you have to break that, and that sometimes does mean digging up the roses, which is terrible. So that's your rose garden. They do have a place, maybe not in your own your own space at home, because I think, to be fair, you do need the space to grow plenty different varieties of roses, for the simple reason that it extends the flowering period, and as you plant, and again do a bit of planning into it. So roses will flower, but they'll flower over an extensive period, but you won't get one plant that's going to flower right through the season. They don't invent plants like that. They're not going to appear in nature, so we're not going to be able to breed them. So you'll need 2 or 3 different plants, 2 or 3 different roses to extend your season. But you can see here that as some are going off, the area I just left, which is down below, has lots of beds of roses that are gone off flowering, finished flowering, and you can see 1 or 2 of them here that have finished flowering. But there are loads of other plants with colour still on them and scent, and again I'm overemphasizing it now. The scent that's here is magnificent. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly have, and I'll see you at our next garden on the contrary fuchsia.